Faith Kids, it's Mr. Steve. I'm glad to be here with you again to share God's Word. I don't know about you, but I'm really starting to miss being around the people that I haven't seen in a while. It's hard to be away from people that we care about. Today, we're going to hear about a man who had a sickness called leprosy. And like the coronavirus, people were afraid of catching it. So he had to stay away from his family and his friends. But Jesus helped him. And Jesus' power helps us when we're lonely too. Before we get started, let's grab all the supplies we need. You'll need some paper or a journal that you can write in, some markers or crayons that you can use to write with, a ruler or a tape measure, a clear container about a third full of water, some oil that you can use later to mix with the water, and of course, it's always good to have your Bible nearby and handy for this lesson. I'll wait and pause the video while you can gather those supplies. I also want to take a minute to talk about this week's God sightings. Have you seen God at work in your life this week? For me, it was the beautiful sunshine that warmed me as I had the opportunity to take a nice walk with my wife, Vanessa. Now pause the video and talk to your family about that. What were your God sightings? Even with all those great things that God is doing for us now, there are a lot of hard things too. I wonder what's been the hardest thing about this whole coronavirus situation for you. For me, it's been not being able to go to the gym and get my exercise the way I used to. So go ahead and pause and talk with your family about what's been the hardest thing for you. One of the hardest things for many people is not being able to see their friends and extended family. For me, I miss being together with my friends at the pool, especially Jim. So pause the video right now and talk with your family about who you miss seeing. Being separated from people we care about can make us feel lonely, but Jesus has the power to help heal us and make us not feel lonely. Let's hear about Jesus and how he helped a man in the Bible who was probably very lonely. Back in Bible times, there was a disease called leprosy. If you got it, you got painful sores all over your body. There was no cure, and often people who caught it would die or lose fingers and toes. People were afraid of catching it, much like people are afraid of catching the coronavirus right now. What are some of the things we're supposed to do right now to avoid catching the coronavirus? Talk to your family about that. One thing we're supposed to do is wash our hands really well. Let's pretend to wash our hands right now while we sing the ABCs. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sing with me? That's great. We're also supposed to stay away from other people. That's called social distancing. We're told that to stay away and help from catching the coronavirus, we're supposed to be at least 6 feet away from people. Hey, let's try that. Let's use that ruler or tape measure. And let's, with everybody in the room that's with you, get apart 6 feet. Make sure you're at least sitting or standing 6 feet away from each other. If you don't have a ruler or a tape measure, just guess. So go ahead. Let's do that right now. You can pause the video while you do that. People in Bible times knew all about social distancing. In fact, they were so afraid of catching leprosy, it was against the law for someone with leprosy to even come into the city. And if someone with leprosy was around other people, he or she would have to call out, "Unclean, unclean," so people around would know to stay away. No one wanted to accidentally touch someone with leprosy. All those rules must have made people who had leprosy feel pretty lonely. So let's try something. Without losing your 6 feet of separation with the people in your room, reach out and hug people in your family. Now remember, don't lean in, don't get closer than 6 feet. I'll reach out and hug you. Unless you have really long arms, you're not able to touch anyone. No hugs, no pat on the backs, just you and your own little bubble. Now here's another question to talk about. How do you think you would have felt if you had to be that far apart, 6 feet apart from everybody at least, for years? Go ahead and pause now and talk with your family about that. It could be pretty lonely to not be able to be close to someone to hug them for a very long time. But let's see what Jesus did when he met someone who had leprosy. If you want to follow along in your Bible, go ahead and pick it up now. And we're going to be in the Matthew chapter 8, verses 1 through 3. So follow along. While Jesus walked along, a man with leprosy came up to him out of the crowd. The man knew Jesus had the power to heal his leprosy. So he said to Jesus, "Lord, if you are willing, you can heal me and make me clean." Jesus reached out his hand and touched the man and answered, "I am willing, be healed." And the man was healed instantly. Wait, did you hear what I said? Let me say it again. Jesus touched the man. This man probably hadn't been hugged or patted on the back or anyone touch him for a very long time. Then Jesus touched him. Jesus wasn't afraid to get leprosy. Jesus knew his power was greater than any disease, leprosy or coronavirus. Jesus knew that not only did this man's body need healing, his heart needed healing too. This man needed to feel Jesus' love right there on his arms, his shoulders, or his head. He needed a loving touch to heal his loneliness. Now, we need to be wise and protect ourselves from sickness right now. But being separated from people can make us feel lonely. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of questions, and you can pause the video and talk with your family about these questions. Who do you know that might be feeling lonely right now? And how can you reach out to them? Thanks for sharing. We can reach out to help others when they're feeling lonely. But even when no one else is around, Jesus' power helps us to not feel lonely. He's always right there to help comfort us and heal our hearts. One way Jesus' power helps us when we're lonely is to remind us that Jesus is our friend. No matter what's going on right now, you always have a friend who's right there next to you, not 6 feet away. So let's sing a song about that. The people in Jesus' time didn't want to mix with people with leprosy. They didn't want people with leprosy mixing with anyone. Now, I have a fun mix-it, science-y experiment for us to do. It'll help us think more about that. So, it's time to use your oil and your container of water. So, now it's time to have some science-y fun. What I want you to do is pour some of the oil into your water container so that there's the same amount of oil and water in the container. Let me demonstrate it for you, okay? So here's my water container, and I'm gonna pour some oil in there. So it's about the same amount. Okay. And now I'm going to go ahead and seal up the container. Got to close it tight. You may want to have an adult double check for you. Okay, now for 10 seconds, I want you to shake the container or stir it if you can't close it. And I'll count down for you. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Now stop and take a look at our mixture. We've mixed it up really well. Well, let's see what happens when it settles down. So while we're waiting, go ahead and pause the video and talk with your family about this question. What do you miss the most because you're separated from others right now? For me, one of the things I miss the most is playing volleyball with my friends at the pool. So let's take a look again at our mixture. Let's see what it looks like now. Oh wow, look at that. As the mixture settles down, the oil and the water don't seem to really be mixed up anymore. It seems like they want to stay separate. I think they're practicing social distancing. Oil and water naturally want to stay separate. But it's not so natural for us. Being separated from others can make us feel lonely. But we can turn to Jesus for help, because Jesus' power helps us when we're lonely. Even though we're separated from a lot of our friends, we still have our family with us. And we can still connect with people online. And even do Sunday school online like this. If it's healthy for you, go ahead and gather with your family for a nice group hug. And if it's not safe to hug someone right now, try giving a long-distance hug like this. And thank Jesus for everyone, each person in your family by name. Are you ready? Great. Focusing on the people Jesus has put in our lives, even in this hard time, can help us feel less alone. That's one way Jesus' power helps us when we're lonely. So when this video ends, go ahead and draw a picture. Use your paper and your markers to draw a picture of someone you're thankful that you can connect with during this time, either in person or online. Put today's date on the page and keep adding to this as you see more God sightings. God bless you all. See you again soon.